We're going to take two. Troy falls to Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. It is Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Let me get this on social media here. 1 second. Hold on here. We are going to go live. Reaction to live. Hold on. Let's see here. Locked On. How about live? Locked On Sunbelt. How about live reaction? Locked On Sunbelt to Troy's 76-57 loss to Kentucky. There we go. Oh no, we want not StreamYard. We want YouTube. Where'd it go? There we go. Yep. And there we are. Okay. There we go. Hold on a second. Boom. Okay. We put it there. Okay. There we are. All right. We'll see if anybody joins it. We'll see. All right. Okay. Am I in the right show? I think I am. Yes, I am. Okay. So a tough night for the Troy Trojans. 76-57, Kentucky. And again, this is what I was afraid of. It just was not a great matchup for Troy. They don't have size, and that's all Kentucky has. Kentucky is just bigger, and bigger. Their big guys are not the most coordinated offensively anyways. But, and I thought, I don't think Kentucky played, let's put it this way. Kentucky played, I don't want to say good enough to win because they played well, right? I think they played, I don't even know if they played an above average game, to be honest with you. I thought Kentucky played, I think the way Kentucky plays, right? I mean, they were held to less than, their average is 85, 76 points, and I think they did that to get hot. They did have 10 3-pointers. They shot 38%. They shot 48% from the floor. The rebounds were basically even. Kentucky didn't have any offensive rebounds in the first half. They got 7 in the second half. Turnovers were even, 11-10. Kentucky had 1 less. Let me see. Does it say points? I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have better statistical rebound statistics. We're getting this from ESPN. But I think Kentucky kind of played, at least offensively, I don't think Kentucky played spectacular. They were spectacular defensively. All right. I can't blame, Troy missed a bunch of open 3-pointers, but they couldn't get anything going inside because you got a bunch of 7-footers standing in their way. Troy missed a bunch of open shots to begin the ball game. And then you look up and it's 25-24. They actually had a shot to tie. And that's kind of where the game ended. Kentucky scored 9 points in the matter of 76 seconds. It went from, what was it? I guess 8 points. It went from 25-24 to 33-24. It was 3:15 to a minute 59 ball game. That was the ball game. And that's too bad because you're thinking, boy, if this game is like 32-31 at half, Troy's in it and they're not shooting it well. Even the guys on CBS, who is it? Dan Conley and Stan Van Gundy and Kevin, they're like, Troy's rebounding well. They're not turning the ball over. The only difference is they're not shooting it well. Well, some of that's on Kentucky. All right. Do we have the block shots? How many block shots did they have? Do we have blocks? Kentucky had 6 blocks. And that's gotta, that doesn't include the shots that they didn't put up that were going to get blocked. So it was a tough matchup. I tried to be as positive as I could for Troy. I did not like the matchup at all. I wasn't sure where those guys were going in terms of, they's like, well, Troy's got to score points. And I was like, well, yes and no. I got a new hat. Again, is my head crooked? I had the problem with the other hat too. I don't know. I don't even know how to wear hats anymore. It's a very odd thing. I have all these hats. I don't know how to wear them anymore. I do like the new Locked On. It's a dry fit hat. I didn't think it was a dry fit hat, but it's a dry fit hat. Anyway, back to Troy. They missed open shots to begin with, and Kentucky had too much length. And they missed their opportunities, and it was even a 6-point game, right? Even those guys were like, they mentioned it, right? You're shooting, about 33% from the floor, less than 30% from 3, less than 70% from the free throw line, and you're down by 6. And then, boom, it went back and went up to like 20 in a blink of an eye, and that was the problem. That's what I was going to say. These guys, like, well, Troy's going to have to score some points in this game to keep up. And that's what I didn't understand. I didn't quite get the whole, did Scott Cross think they could keep up with Kentucky? Like they were going to push it. I didn't get that whole game plan type of thing. Cause I really think they needed to take the air out of the ball. I don't mind pushing it when you have a fast break. I don't have a problem with that. But I need to take some time a little bit. When I have that opportunity, because I need to shorten the game. I need less possessions, and the game got off to a wicked start. It was like now the timeout was 14 minutes, so it was an extra 2 minutes before we got a TV timeout. So not quite 4 minutes. So it went 6 minutes, and it was like 14-12 at that point. I can go back and look. Let me see here. It was 11-9, and the pace was up and down, and nobody was missing. And then the pace slowed down. Right, only a couple buckets were made. It was a total of maybe 2.5 minutes, 14-12. But then, 5:38 to go. In the half, another 10 minutes or so, 6 minutes or so, it's 23-19, right? 3:42 left to go. At the timeout, before Troy's shooting free throws, 25-23. So the pace had slowed down beautifully for Troy. The pace had really slowed down, right? And again, you're looking at, I don't think it could have been 35-34. The pace would have had to speed up, although Kentucky scored 35 because they scored 8 points. They missed a free throw. They scored 8 points in the matter of 76 seconds. Troy actually had a shot. Having said all that, Troy had an open shot on the baseline to make it a 6-point game instead of an 8-point game, right? Was Dowd missed a shot on the baseline, really a 10-footer, open 10-footer with 1.8 seconds left on the shot clock that would have made it a 35-30 ball game. Wouldn't have changed the outcome, but despite kind of losing touch, they could have been a little bit closer. It was just a poor shooting night for Troy, and I do think that Kentucky had something to do with it. Troy shot 35% from the floor. They were 8 out of 32 from 3, 25%. Free throws 5 out of 9. And again, the rebounds were basically even. All right. Kentucky had a good game, not a great game, right? They didn't shoot the lights out. I'm not sure. I guess Troy would, if Kentucky just had that ball game and Troy played well, it just would have been an interesting outcome. I mean, Kentucky shot 48% from the floor and 38.5% from three, 10 of 16 from the 3-point land. Now they did call off the Dogs with about 2.5 minutes to go. So there's something to be said for that. But, again, it was 61-48, and actually Troy had a chance to cut it to 10 or 11, and then it got up to 20 points again, and that's when they shut it down. But then they went on a little bit of a run again. So again, they scored 76 and they got hot twice in the second half. So again, the pace was where Troy wanted it, and they just couldn't really throw it into the ocean. I'm not sure if anybody had a particularly good game with 57 points. Obviously shooting wise, Myles Rigsby, he went on like a 7-0 run on his own, 17 points, 7 rebounds. He was 6 for 11, 2 of 3 from 3. Thomas Dowd, 0 for 7, 11 rebounds. Jackson Fields, 2 of 7. Tate Connerway, he struggled, had 12 points, but 1 of 7 from 3, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers. Marcus Rigsby, 2 of 8, but 1 of 5 from 3. Got a little production off the bench. Valdez had 5 points. Bellamy had 4. Sang had the 1-3, and Campbell had 4 points. But that was the thing about the Wildcats. Those guys had, it wasn't only the guys, Owe had, he only shot 2 threes. So they really didn't go for the 3-pointers, although they did shoot 26 threes. Brea was 3 of 6. Butler didn't score at all. He was in there for defense. Carr hit some threes early. He had 13. Amari Williams is allergic to the bucket. I know how he has 1,000 points, but he grabbed 13 rebounds, 4 assists. But then, guys like, Brendan Garrison is coming off the bench and has 13 points. Colin Chandler, I don't think he played in the first half, but scores, 9 points and hits a couple of threes. Who else hit? Trent Noah hits a 3-pointer. So these guys were just coming off the bench cold and boom, hitting 3-pointers. So it was tough. And again, it was a bad matchup. Again, I tried to spin it as positively as I could. But it was not a great matchup for the Troy Trojans. And some of it, some of that is the NCAA tournament. Maybe McNeese got a great matchup with Clemson. Maybe some of that was McNeese. I'm not going to sit here. I only saw the last few minutes of that ball game, so I know McNeese was way ahead throughout the whole first half, extended it to begin the half, and then hung on at the end. But obviously that worked out well for them. All right, let's take a quick timeout. We'll talk too much Kentucky when we come back right after this. See if we can tell you about a Nissan. We're all about the stats because numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are an MVP level. With the ability to tow up 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear, wherever you need to go. It's all powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. All right, let me flip over here in a second. See if we go to YouTube. Whoop. Nope. Am I at the YouTube now? Oh, well. That's where the comments are. Oh, let me see if they no, that show up on StreamYard. Oh, maybe no comments. Let me see if I can go over to YouTube here. Oh, let me see. I got to get the sound down. Oh, no comments. Okay. All right. Oh, so no comments. Okay. It is what it is. All right. All right, so yeah, again, Kentucky was just too big, too physical, and then their shots fell. I swear I thought they started 1 for 10 from 3. Maybe that was Troy. But I think they eventually hit 4 threes in a row, including their last couple at the end of the half. Maybe that was it. They started 1 for 7 or 1 for 8 and then finished the half 3 for 10 and then hit a couple to begin the second half. So they hit like 4 straight threes. And then they went cold again. I mean, a couple of the keys that I said, less than 10 threes, they hit 10. Rebounds were even. Kentucky did not, Troy kept up with them. Offensive rebounds. I'd like to know, does it, again, I'm looking at ESPN, unfortunately. For second chance points, it doesn't say that. Points in the paint, surprisingly, Troy did have 26. I was kind of surprised at that. 34-26. Fast break points, 14-11. Kentucky. Steals, Troy, 10-5. Again, the big difference in the game is that Kentucky shot 48% and Troy shot 35%. Troy had 4 more shots. I think maybe the difference is the free throws. And Kentucky made 6 more field goals, 2 more threes. All right. You might say that the game wasn't, a 19-point game, but it kind of was, right? I mean, Kentucky was never, that game was never in doubt. What was it? I mean, did we think that Troy was ever we were hoping that Troy was going to get back in the game, right? I mean, they were in the game at 25-24, but that was about it. It was 45-39, and you needed a couple stops to get back in the game, but it was a bad matchup. It doesn't take away from what Troy did this year, co-Sunbelt champions. I admit it. Tournament champions, and a trip to the NCAAs, and a lot of good pub for the Waffle House. These kids are now going to get an NIL deal at Waffle House. Not that Waffle House is all that expensive to begin with, although prices have been jacked. They should get all they can eat at Waffle House. Again, there's only one issue with Waffle House, and that's eating too fast. You just get too stuffed. And there's one right by campus. There's one right there by the campus off of the main strip. I don't know where the others are. Maybe it's on the other highway. 2 main roads in Troy. It's not that big of a place. We're waiting for the distillery to open. All right. The one thing that Troy did get, they did earn a lot of respect, and there's something to be said for that. We'll tell you after we tell you about 5-Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling like that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. That extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power you through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, like we all are, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up wherever you need it. Been staying up late to watch these games, and that 5-Hour Energy helps keep me up the next day. Going to work tomorrow, and I will need some help. With longer days, I love getting outside for a hike or a run, and Tropical Burst is my go-to for a quick boost. Whether I'm at the game or traveling, 5-Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team's everyday special live edition. We'll get that ad off. So then we won't have an episode on Saturday. I'll probably make a couple of shorts out of this one and post them throughout the weekend. We did keep on hearing that the Trojans were playing. They were down, I think they were down 20, like 61-41. And they kept on coming. They kept on getting offensive rebounds, kept on running sets, kept on going to the bucket. And I know the announcers have to keep the casual fans into it, whatever casual fans may be watching at that time. And now that gambling is legal, that 11.5 people were more interested in that 11.5, right? Than, when it's 61-48, people are very interested in the 11.5 at that point in time. And so you got to keep people interested. And they were complimenting Troy, and not giving up is part of it. Got back and forth yesterday. When you're recording it, you always got to remember what day it is, but we're doing this live. So, yesterday with an Auburn fan, and Auburn looked bored. They did. They were up 12-5 and 28-15, and then they stopped playing. And Alabama State had a chance to take the lead, and then they didn't. And then that ball game got out of control in favor of Auburn. And I'm all about winning and moving on. For those people who've been watching me for the last few years, know that. And so you don't get bonus points for winning pretty. I understand that. But when we're talking about Auburn, we're talking about winning a national championship. All right. So Duke didn't have any issues not being bored. Florida didn't have any issues not being bored. I don't think Kentucky had issues not being bored. All right. And so we mentioned that with Auburn, and someone went back and forth with us. And I don't think Kentucky had an issue with being bored today. I think Kentucky played, again, I hadn't seen a lot of them, but it seemed like outside of not shooting better, Kentucky kind of played the way Kentucky played. Right? Outside of maybe more offensive rebounds. But I think that, I think like Stan Van Gundy said, like usually when the Sunbelt team goes up against the SEC, there's a huge disparity when it comes to rebounding. And there wasn't. Kentucky grabbed one more rebound, 4 less offensive rebounds. That's what I was worried about, that they'd start grabbing these offensive rebounds and shooting out to open threes. Again, the game changed crazily, is that a name? On a dime, 25-24 with a chance to tie, and 8 points in 76 seconds. That's where the game changed. And they never got back into they got it to 6. They got it to 8 before half, had a chance to get it to 6. They got it to they got it down to 6 in the second half, but never had the ball with a chance to tie, never had the ball with a chance to take the lead. And again, it was a bad matchup. I mean, again, try to be positive all week long, but it was not a great matchup. If we go back and look at the podcasts from last year, I was highly confident that JMU could beat Wisconsin. I may have been too confident that they could have beaten Duke. And I kind of felt like watching that game, one of two things happened. JMU shot the shot, didn't really care about the Duke game, or else they got psyched out by the Duke thing. Because Duke played well in that ball game. I'm not sure they played well after that. I have to go back and look. Duke didn't get to the Final Four last year, right? Did they lose in the Elite Eight, or did they lose in the Sweet 16? But whatever it was, I thought JMU had a real shot at Wisconsin. This year's Wisconsin team is very different, apparently, in terms of their ability to score. And I was looking for somebody. They're not in the NCAAs, but it would have been much better if Troy was playing in North Texas, a team that does not score much and likes to slow it down, and has, or if it was like a Virginia, or old time Virginia. That's what it would be like if Troy was playing old time Virginia, right? That's what would have been a good matchup for them, because they are offensively challenged, or last year's Wisconsin team, that kind of thing, where they are offensively challenged. This year's Kentucky team is not offensively challenged. I think Kentucky can play better and shoot a little bit better than they did tonight, but obviously they did more than enough and were never really challenged in this ball game. But I thought that the Trojans earned a lot of respect from the TV guys, and they just said they just keep on coming because you can see teams quit. You can see teams give up. You can see players, games can go from 10 points to 25. It happens. All right. Matt, congratulations, Scott Cross and the Troy Trojans. It's a great couple of weeks with the way the Sunbelt works. They get to bask in the glow for an extra week, right? Because they win it on a Monday and the NCAA bracket doesn't come out until that Sunday, right? Whereas everybody else's tournament is the week that Troy has already won it in. So they get the extra week to bask in the glow. I don't know. Are we going to say that does the time off hurt you because they haven't played in, right? I mean, we talk about that with the Sunbelt all the time, right? They have not played since the 10th. That's the thing. So I don't know if that's a thing, but they did not shoot the ball particularly well. I happen to think that has a lot to do with the dry eyes. I think that has a lot to do with the Kentucky Wildcats. All right. Thank you so much. We will we'll wrap up. God, with the dry eyes. We'll wrap up the baseball come Monday. All right. We can give you. We're live. I don't really care. I'm going to have to. What I do? We're going to have to refresh this real quickly. Cajuns in South Alabama. It was 3-0 Cajuns. It is 6-0 Cajuns in the top half. 7-0 Cajuns top half of the ninth. So they are in control in this one. And I guess while we're at it, let me see how updated the Sunbelt is. Coastal did beat Troy in their first matchup. Old Dominion took down Georgia State 12-4. Big win for Old Dominion. Georgia State loses their first Sunbelt game. Coastal Carolina 11-3 over Troy. That game was 3-3. Marshall over James Madison 6-5. How about Georgia Southern blanking App 9-0? Texas State beats Arkansas State. Interesting. Let's see what ULM and Southern Miss are doing. A few surprises here. Waiting for the stats to pop up. We got a Southern Miss leading 7-4 over ULM. It is the bottom half of the eighth. ULM with 2 on and 1 out. The reason I'm updating the scores in this case is because this show is live. You may watch it later on, but the show is live. So compared to recording something now and telling you a score later on, it does nobody any good. But we'll wrap up baseball, maybe a little softball over the weekend. We do have another college Sunbelt football coach scheduled to join us later next week. So that will be cool. We're also hoping to go to an opening day. Never been to a major league opening day. The ticket prices are not cheap. So we may just take a ride up there just to do it because I don't have anything else to do. Also, I don't know what the weather is going to be like, but if it's a nice day, it's also worth it. And we may do a little bourbon hunting at the same time. All right. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On, a live reaction show of Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Congratulations to Scott Cross and his Troy Trojans for a tremendous 2024-2025 season.